Welcome to the Trial Site News Roundup. Today in our program, we'll be talking about the FDA, which has issued a warning to the consuming public and mRNA-based vaccines. This regarding the suggested increased risk for heart inflammation. Then we'll talk about what has happened in Indonesia, where in that country Ivermectin has now been authorized for use in the fight against COVID-19. We'll discuss what is happening there. And so, from Trial Site News, I'm Adrian, and our episode starts now. As reported by a number of major media outlets recently, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has moved forward to include a warning concerning the Moderna and Pfizer-BioNTech Covid-19 vaccines regarding the suggested increased risk of myocarditis, or inflammation of the heart muscle, and pericarditis, which is inflammation of the tissue surrounding the heart, following vaccination. Now, according to Janet Woodcock, acting FDA commissioner, she said that the risk of myocarditis and pericarditis appears to be very low given the number of vaccine doses that have been administered. She went on to say that the benefits of COVID-19 vaccination continue to outweigh the risks given the risk of COVID-19 diseases and related potentially severe complications. Now, the warning fact sheets for healthcare providers administering vaccine notes that reports of adverse events suggest increased risk of myocarditis and pericarditis, particularly following the second dose and with the onset of symptoms within a few days after vaccination. Additionally, the fact sheets for recipients and caregivers for these vaccines note that vaccine recipients should seek medical attention right away if they have chest pain, shortness of breath, or feelings of having fast beating, fluttering, or pounding heart after vaccination. The FDA and CDC are monitoring the reports, collecting more information, and will follow up to assess longer-term outcomes over several months. Now, we here at Trial Site News have also reported on the CDC warning involving myocarditis after the mRNA-based vaccinations, and based on other intelligence, we suspect further warnings could follow in the weeks and months to come. So for the next story, we're going to talk about Indonesia, which is now in the middle of its most severe wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. Thanks in part to a wealthy entrepreneur presently serving as the Minister for State-Owned Enterprises, or SOE, the country's national drug regulator authorized the use of ivermectin on an off-label basis targeting COVID-19. Last year, the Indonesian government brought in the wealthy, dynamic, and aggressive businessmen to shake up and turn around state-owned enterprises. And now, the new SOE, Minister of the Food and Drug Supervisory Agency, known for the acronym BPOM, has issued a distribution permit for ivermectin, meaning the regulatory body for this Southwest Asian nation of 270 million people has authorized the use of the generic low-cost drug as a therapeutic for COVID-19. Now, this BPOM action has led to a distribution license to PT Indopharma Tbk, and production now has commenced with plans for distribution of over 4 million units per month. Now, this fascinating and unfolding situation is the result of the dynamic SOE minister driving state enterprises to solve the COVID-19 crisis, as the BPOM still takes the position that the treatment is accepted, but on an off-label basis. Now, of course, here in the US, official US guidelines from the FDA and the NIH as of this filming are still as follows. The FDA has cautioned against the use of ivermectin for use against COVID-19, saying that they have not approved ivermectin for use in treating or preventing COVID-19 in humans. The NIH, which has a softer stance on the subject of ivermectin, is still taking a neutral tone, neither for nor against the use of the drug, saying that there is insufficient data to recommend either for or against the use of ivermectin for the treatment of COVID-19, saying that results from adequately powered, well-designed, and well-conducted clinical trials are needed to provide more specific, evidence-based guidance on the role of ivermectin in the treatment of COVID-19. Now, as we here at Trial Site News have covered for many months now, India's national authorities have authorized ivermectin as a regimen to be included targeting COVID-19. And yet, this authorization was then removed, due in part to both internal and external political pressure. Now, the world's fourth most populous nation's regulatory authority has authorized ivermectin's use in a major breakthrough for the drug's role in the COVID-19 pandemic. To date, only 12.6 million people have fully been vaccinated in Indonesia, representing about 4.7% of the population. In the meantime, the country now enters its worst phase of the pandemic, a third spike where on June 23rd, a record number of daily cases reached 15,308. Now, the Drug Regulatory Agency has cautioned that ivermectin's long-term uncontrolled use could lead to side effects including muscle, joint pain, skin rash, fever, dizziness, constipation, diarrhea, drowsiness, and Stevens-Johnson syndrome. Now, BPOM was also very clear via a request to the public not to buy ivermectin over the counter without a physician's prescription. This includes the use of online platforms and cautions that business ventures set up to sell the drug online without a licensed physician's prescription would violate the law, leading to regulatory-imposed sanctions. Now, other regulators could and probably should consider what BPOM has done here, maintaining a stance that ongoing research is necessary while, at least during the public health emergency, allowing for controlled off-label use of ivermectin for the COVID-19 indication. It's at least something worth considering. And that, my friends, brings our episode to a close once more. As always, thank you so much for joining us on the program today. From Trial Site News, I'm Adrian, and I will see you all